Hello children, welcome to English class. In this video, let's discuss the textual exercises of the lesson Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. So get ready with your textbooks children and move on to page number 75. Children, let's do the exercise word building. Here you are expected to form compound words. Before we do this exercise, let's learn what compound words are. What are compound words? Compound words are words that are formed by joining two words. The new words thus formed will have a new or different meaning. Sounds confusing, isn't it? But don't worry. Here are a few examples which will help you understand what compound words are. Our first example is finger plus nail. It becomes fingernail. So here two different words are joined together to form a new word which is fingernail, and it has a totally different meaning. Our next example is sun plus flower. It becomes sunflower. So, by joining the words sun and flower, we get the word sunflower. And when we put them together, remember children, do not leave any space because here we have framed a new word. So the word sunflower is the compound word here. Our third example is snow plus man, and we get the compound word snowman. Children, our fourth example here is butter plus fly, and we get the compound word butterfly. Children, I hope you have understood what compound words are and how they are formed. Let's now try doing the textual exercise. Okay? The first pair of words given here are moon plus light. And by joining these two words, we get the compound word moonlight. The second set of words that are given here are good plus night. And by joining these two words, we get the compound word good night. Next, we have the words water plus fall. And by joining these two words, we get the compound word waterfall. The fourth set of words given here are break plus fast. And by joining these two words, we get the compound word breakfast. Our fifth pair of words are day plus break, and by joining them, we get the compound word daybreak. And the last pair of words we have here are rain plus bow, and after joining them, we get the compound word rainbow. So what are compound words, children? Compound words are words that are formed by joining two words. And the new word that is formed will have a completely new meaning. You must also remember, children, while writing the compound word, you must not leave any space or gap between the two words, as we have a completely new word. Okay? Children, let's now move on to our next exercise, which is find a word in the poem which is the opposite of. There are 6 words given in this exercise. You will have to go through the poem. Don't be afraid of the dark and look for the opposites of these words in the poem. Okay? So let's try doing this, children. First, let me display the poem on the screen. The first word given here is war, and its opposite is peace. The second word given here is enemies, and I am sure you know the opposite of the word enemies is friends. The third word given here is gentle, and its opposite is harsh. The fourth word given here is light, and the opposite of the word light is dark. Now, the next word given here is night. Children, can you find out the opposite of the word night in the poem? Very good. The opposite of the word night is day. And the last word included in this exercise is start, and its opposite is cease. This was an interesting activity, isn't it, children? Right. Now, let's move on to the next textual exercise, which is given in page number 76. Children, listen to me carefully as I read the question. Okay? Look at these words in the poem. Don't, won't. Here are their full forms. The full form of don't is do not, and the full form of won't is will not. Children, before we discuss this exercise any further, let's learn about contractions. Here on the screen, you will find a balloon. You can see that when the air is blown into the balloon, it expands. That means it becomes bigger. But when the air is released from the balloon, it shrinks or it contracts. The word contract means to shrink or to become smaller or shorter. In English language, we use contraction in order to shorten two words into one word. Let's check out a few examples, children. The first example that I have here for you is she is. Now, in order to contract or shorten these two words into one word, we will be removing the letter I from the second word, which is. After the letter I is removed, we get the contracted form of the word shiz. Children, here you can see that the place of the missing letter I is taken up by apostrophe. So now we have one word which is shorter. There is also one important thing about contractions, children. While we contract a word, the meaning of the word never changes. Okay? Let's now check out the next example. Here you have the two words I and will. Now, in order to contract or shorten these two words into one word, we will have to remove the letters W and I from the second word, which is will. And we get the contracted form I'll. The place of the letters W and I is taken over by an apostrophe. Moving on to our next example. I am. In order to join these two words and to make them short, we will have to remove the letter A from the second word, and we get the contracted word I'm. The place of the letter A is taken up by an apostrophe. Children, though we have contracted these two words to make them into one word, the meaning of the word never changes. Okay? Here is your next example, children. The two words given here are I have. Now, these two words can be contracted by removing the letters H and A. And the result is the word I've. And the place of the letters H and A is taken up by an apostrophe. Your next example is they are. These two words are going to be contracted by removing the letter A from the second word. And we get the contracted form of the word there. Here you will see that an apostrophe has taken the place of the missing letter A. So whenever we try to contract two words, we make changes in the second word only. Okay? Moving on to our next example. Are not. We can join these two words and shorten them or contract them by removing the letter O from the second word not. And the contracted form of the word will be aren't. Here, the place of the letter O that was removed is taken up by an apostrophe. The next example that I have for you here is do not. By removing the letter O from the second word not, we get the contracted form don't. And an apostrophe is added in place of the missing letter O. Let's check out our next example, children. Here we have got two words, does not. By now, you must have understood that when the word not is in the second place, we remove the letter O in order to get the contracted form doesn't. And in place of the missing letter O, we put an apostrophe. Moving on to our next example, did not. Here again, in order to make the contracted form of these two words, we remove the letter O and join them up together, and we get the contraction didn't. And the place of the missing letter will always be taken up by an apostrophe. Okay? And while you contract two words, the meaning of the word does not change. Next, we have here the words will not. Going by what you have learned so far, you would think of removing the letter O and conclude that the contracted form of the word is willn't. But remember, children, this is an exception. The contraction willn't is considered to be wrong by the users of English language. Instead of willn't, they have adopted the old English form, which is won't. Okay, so always remember, will not is won't. Clear? And the place of the missing letter O will be substituted with an apostrophe. Moving on to a next example, could not. Here again, the letter that is going to be removed is O, and we get the contracted form couldn't. Also, the apostrophe takes over the place of the missing letter O. Next, we have he would. Here, we could contract or shorten these two words into one word by removing the letters W, O, U, L from the second word and bring the letters together to form he'd. And don't forget to place an apostrophe in place of the missing letters. Children, by now you would have understood what contractions are. Contractions are shortened form of two words. Let's now revise the rules of contractions. Rule number 1. To shorten two words into one, we remove or omit a letter or letters from the second word only. And the second rule is the omitted letters are replaced with an apostrophe. Since you have learned about compound words, let's find out the difference between compound words and contractions. In compound words, two words are joined together to form one word. For example, rainbow. And in contractions again, two words are joined to form one word. So this is the similarity that compound words and contractions share. Now coming to the differences. While making compound words, no letter or letters are omitted. Whereas in contractions, we remove or omit a letter or letters from the second word. Our next difference between compound words and contractions is the compound word formed by joining two words will have a completely new meaning. But in the case of contractions, the meaning of the new word remains the same. So this is the similarity and the differences between compound words and contractions. I hope you have understood these two concepts thoroughly. Now, it's time for us to do the textual exercise. Now, write the full forms of the following words. This is going to be a simple task for you children. The first contraction or contracted word given here is didn't. And I'm sure you know the answer for this, children. The full form of didn't is did not. Similarly, the full form of shouldn't is should not. The same goes with wouldn't, and its full form is would not. Couldn't becomes could not. And the same goes with mustn't. The full form of mustn't is must not. Children, next we have a very interesting exercise, which is say aloud. Children, listen to me carefully as I read out this riddle. The first riddle is, what is the word that starts with T, rhymes with C's, and means to playfully make fun of? Any guess here, children? Wonderful! The answer for this riddle is tease. So tease is the word which starts with T and it rhymes with the word sees. Moving on to the second riddle, what is the word that starts with C, rhymes with near and fear, and means easy to see, hear and understand? What could be the answer here, children? Very good. The word is clear. So the word clear starts with the letter C and it rhymes with the words fear and near. Children, it's time for us to discuss our next exercise, which is how to pronounce the sounds T and K. The letter T makes the sound T and the letter K makes the sound K. Now let's see the position taken by our tongue while making the sounds T and K. On the screen, you will find two diagrams that show how the sounds T and K are produced in the mouth. In the first diagram, you can see how the tip of the tongue touches the beginning of the roof of the mouth while producing the sound T. Now children, please try making the sound T and notice the position of your tongue. Does the tip of your tongue also touch the beginning of the roof of your mouth while making the sound T? Yes, of course. So this is how the sound T is produced. Okay, let's check out how the sound K is produced. As it is clearly evident from the picture, while making the sound K, the back of the tongue touches the back of the roof of the mouth. Okay, so now try making the sound K, children. K, K. You would have noticed how the back of your tongue touches the back of the roof of your mouth, isn't it? Right. So we can say that in order to make the sound T, the front of the tongue is used. And in order to make the sound K, the back of the tongue is used. Now let's get back to your textbook and see what is given there. Say T, T, T. Where did the tip of the tongue touch? Children, we all know that while making the sound T, the tip of our tongue touched the beginning of the roof of the mouth. Isn't it? Now, listen and repeat cat. 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 Did you hear what your tongue did? Yes. Say these words and feel what your tongue does when you say toe, top, tie, 10. So children, you have understood that while uttering each of these words, in order to make the T sound, the tip of your tongue touched the beginning of the roof of your mouth. Moving on, work in pairs. Make the cough sound. I came down and I coughed k, 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 k. And cough again k, 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 k. Did you hear the k sound at the end of the word book? Yes. Now repeat after me, children. B-O-O-K is book. L-O-O-K is look. N-E-C-K is neck. D-U-C-K is duck. C-H-I-C-K is chick. S-A-C-K is sack. C-L-O-C-K is clock. Here, all these words end with the k sound. And we already learned that to make this sound "k," the back of the tongue touches the end of the roof of your mouth. Look into the textbook, children. All these words start with the same sound. Now here are words that begin with the "k" sound. Kangaroo, curtain, king, key, kind, kitten. The next textual exercise we have here is team time. Divide the class into 4 groups. Children, since we are not in our regular classroom, let's just discuss the second and third points. Imagine life without the sun. What are the things that may happen if there is no sunlight? We all know that the sun is in the center of the solar system and it is a star around which all the other 8 planets revolve. The 8 planets in our solar system are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The sun provides light energy which is essential to sustain life on Earth. Sunlight is the most important source of energy for all living things. Without the sun, the Earth would plunge into darkness. Plants and trees would die away. Animal kingdom would collapse. Oceans and other water bodies will get frozen. And finally, the scarcity of food and water will lead to the death of the humankind. So sunlight is essential for the sustenance of life on Earth, and we cannot think of life on Earth without sun and its energy. Children, here is what I want you to do. Using the ideas that I have provided, you will have to prepare a speech on the topic, what are the things that may happen if there is no sunlight? Okay? Then record your speech and post it to my personal WhatsApp number. Let's now check out our next exercise, which is let's write. The red teacups are filled with a particular word. Fill in the yellow teacups with similar sounding words. Note the example given. This exercise is all about homophones. Homophones are words that sound the same but have a different spelling and meaning. This sounds confusing, isn't it, children? Don't worry. Let me give you a few examples so that you can understand homophones. The first example here is right and right. As you can see, children, these 2 words have different spelling and different meaning, but they are pronounced the same way, which is right. The next set of homophones are see, see. The first word means to look, whereas the second word talks about a water body. Next, we have the words hair, hair. The word HAIR, hair, stands for the long thread-like strands that grow from the skin of humans, whereas HARE refers to a wild rabbit. So now you must have understood that homophones are words that have same sound, but different spelling and different meaning. With this understanding, let's try to solve the textual exercise. The first one is already done, children. The word that sounds similar to TOO2 is TWO2. The second word given here is ONE1. We know that ONE is a number. And the word that has the same pronunciation as one is WON1. And it means to be victorious. The third word here is DEER, deer, which is an animal. And the word that has the same pronunciation as deer is DEAR, dear. It means a loved one. Now the last word given here is SON, son. The word son means the male child of a man, and its homophone is SUN, son. Now using these homophones, you will have to do the next textual exercise. Complete the following sentences, choosing the right word. Children, This is your second home assignment. Moving forward, we have Let's Listen. In this exercise, you're supposed to relax your entire body, except for your ears. You will have to listen to the sounds around you, okay? So first, children, relax your feet, legs, and entire body. Be as quiet as you can. I hope you have relaxed your entire body. Now, listen to the sounds around you. Then tell your partner softly what you heard and ask, "What did you hear?" Let your partner talk about or copy these sounds. Now, if you were in a school, we could have done this. Let's move on to the fifth point. Read out the following phrases aloud. Divide them into loud and softer sounds. So children, here are some phrases that talk about some actions. Some of these actions may make loud sounds, whereas some may make softer sounds. You will have to find out the sounds that are loud and put them in the first box. And the phrases that refer to softer sounds must go to the second box. Listen to me carefully as I read out these phrases to you, children. Clapping hands, a worm moving, stamping feet, a bud blooming, a butterfly flying, a feather dropping, an ant walking, a car moving, the wind blowing, shh, whisper, tiptoe, and finally, a leaf falling. The phrases that go in the first box are clapping hands, stamping feet, and a car moving, whereas a whisper, shh, and the wind blowing are all softer sounds. Children, now we have a beautiful poem titled Don't Give Up. Please read along with me, children. If you keep on going and never stop, you can keep on going. You can make it to the top. Life is full of mountains. Some are big and some are small. But if you don't give up, you can overcome them all. So keep on going. Try not to stop. When you keep on going, you can make it to the top. Children, this is a poem that talks about hard work and the will to move forward even when you are faced with many obstacles. The mountains mentioned in the poem talk about obstacles or hardships. The poem tells us that we must not be disappointed by setbacks. Instead, we must try to overcome our hardships and move forward. And this positive attitude will help you reach to the top of success. Here you have a question, children. Look at the picture and describe it. Why do you think the boy is happy? We can say that the boy in the picture is very happy because he has reached the mountain of success, overcoming difficulties. With this poem, we have completed the lesson, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Children, don't forget to do your assignments and post it to my personal WhatsApp number. Okay? Bye-bye and have a great day.